Hey there, hello everybody, welcome you all to the next video on our channel. And today is an extremely special day, and I'm super excited about shooting this video today. And if in case you're somebody who belongs to the cricket fandom, you will know how special today is, because today is the birthday of one of those largely celebrated cricketers of the decade, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And because it's Mahendra Singh Dhoni's birthday today, I wanted to talk about a book that is written on Mahendra Singh Dhoni's life. And that book is The Dhoni Touch by Bharat Sundaresan. Now, I've spoken about this book also in one of those haul videos. I will leave the link to the haul video somewhere over here, and you can check out that video as well. And this book is all the more special simply because it was published 3 years ago, exactly on this same date, which is the 7th of July 2018, on Mahendra Singh Dhoni's birthday. Now, this is one book in which Bharat Sundaresan tries to unravel the enigma that is Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And undoubtedly, I loved this book. There are 10 chapters in the book. And almost all chapters have little anecdotes with a lot of takeaways for each and every one of us. And on a personal front, if I were to talk about the way in which I connect with the book, I personally love Mahendra Singh Dhoni a lot. And even as a kid, I remembered how I used to make my hairstyle just so that I can suit or match up to his level. So that's crazy I was when I was a kid. So yeah, personally, it was extremely fascinating and a rejuvenating experience even as a learner, because I was getting to know about somebody whom I really love. Now, apart from the fact that I love him personally, I will also give you a host of reasons why you're supposed to pick up this particular book and read this book. Now, reason number one, Mahendra Singh Dhoni is an extremely famous personality, and this book is a biography of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And we generally read biographies simply because we get to know about the lives of great people. Thereby, we learn a lot by understanding about the lives of these great people, the various qualities that we're supposed to imbibe, and so on. So, in that way, this book will be a very good self help book as well. Now, as the person, Mahendra Singh Dhoni is an extremely down to earth person, and he's not somebody who brags about himself. He's not somebody who boasts about his qualities, his sportsmanship, and so on. So, you generally don't find a lot of details about his qualities or his greatness as a human being. So, if in case you want to know more about such a great human being, then probably you should pick up this. Now, moving on to reason number three. The third reason is that it is about an ordinary life of an extraordinary person, like Bharat Sundaresan puts it. So there are a number of takeaways from the book. You get to know about those qualities that you actually need in order to achieve greatness in life. So that is another reason why you should pick up this book. Now, reason number four is for people who have already watched the movie, which is a biopic on MS Dhoni, and it was brilliantly acted out by Sushant Singh Rajput. But then, if you're looking for reasons why you should read the book, there might be some of you who might be thinking that you already know the story, you already know most of those important life events that took place in Dhoni's life, his past as a ticket collector, and so on. Now, if you have such misconceptions, I'm sorry, because there is a lot more to his life, lot more that you need to know about Mahendra Singh Dhoni as a person. Yeah, so this book, in the form of anecdotes, throws light on the qualities that he had as a human being. How great was he as a human being is what you get to know when you're reading this book. So, of course, trust me on that, this book has a lot more to offer than the movie. Now, I would like to mention a few life lessons that I have learned from this book. Of course, as I told you earlier, there are a number of takeaways. Now, this book is a plethora of qualities that probably you can imbibe, because he talks about various qualities that he has, for example, determination, self confidence, how equipoised you need to be, how balanced you're supposed to be when you have to face failure and success, when you have to deal with extreme situations, how you're supposed to be, how cool you're supposed to be as a cucumber, and so on. So you have a number of life lessons that you can learn from this book. So that's one reason why I suggested that this could also be a very good self-help book. Now, talking about the lessons that I learned from here, I'm just going to talk about three important lessons that I learned. And I mean, there are a lot more, of course. But then I would want you to read, and it will definitely be an enriching experience for each and every reader. The first instance has something to do with his school life, whereas a schoolboy, he played for his school. He was representing his school, and then there was this one match where they had to play against underdogs, sort of people who probably are not very good at playing cricket. So the team to which Mahendra Singh Dhoni belonged to, they had a lot of overconfidence and they actually lost a must-win match. And the coach Keshav Ranjan Banerjee was extremely disappointed because of the overconfidence with which these boys had played, and therefore he wanted to teach a lesson, and he had asked all the junior boys to come to school by the bus, but then the senior boys were asked to walk their way back to school. So that was like around 6 kilometers of walk until they reached the school, and he was waiting at the entrance. And even today, Keshav Ranjan Banerjee sir, or the coach, he remembers how placid Dhoni's face was as ever. I mean, he was not grumping, he was not complaining, he was not frowning like the other boys, but then he accepted it, and then he was placid as ever. I personally loved this anecdote simply because I loved the discipline with which MSD operated at a very early part of his life. And if only I was so disciplined. I wish I was so disciplined when I was in school. But yeah, so that's one thing that I learned from him, the discipline and also the belief that your elders will probably do something only that is good for you. So that is one thing that I learned. And the second lesson is something that almost everybody who has been in acquaintance with MSD will probably tell you about his humility and about his equanimity, about his equipoised nature when it comes to handling both success and failure. Of course, humility is something that we all know. We know him as a very down to earth person. So he says, Chittu says that he probably thought that he might change after 2007, or I mean, from 2007 to 2015. He thought that at some point there might be a change. But then, to his surprise, one thing that has happened is that Dhoni hasn't changed right from his childhood. The same friendship that they had when they were children is the same friendship that they cherish even right now. So that is again something that you should learn from him. I mean, this is something that I really love about the man. The last and the final lesson that I learned from Mahi is that all protests and celebrations do not have to be too loud. And I learned this from an incident that is narrated in chapter 7 of the book. And in the year 2008, India was playing against Australia at MCG, which is nothing but Melbourne Cricket Ground. And you know how big a thing it is to win over a team in their homeland. So that's something that's amazing. And anytime there is a match, and if it is Australia, of course, I will want India to win because that's one of those very difficult teams to compete with as far as cricket is concerned. So yes, and there was this match which India was likely to win, and the Indians just needed 10 runs for victory. And that was when Rohit Sharma actually received a message from the captain, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, asking them not to celebrate too much. It was an entire decade where the Aussies were ruling cricket like anything, and then when somebody asks you not to celebrate too much, you just wonder why that happened. And then they understood that a wild celebration would give the opponent an impression that the victory was by fluke. So he didn't want this to happen. Here as well, as far as this particular incident is concerned, he did it in his own style without going overboard. So yeah, one thing that I learned from this incident is that you don't have to be loud. Whenever you're angry, whenever you're disappointed with somebody's performance, whenever you're disappointed by the way somebody treats you, you generally don't have to shout at them or voice out your opinions. You might just stay calm and they will still understand what it is. Yeah, for this video, I've just mentioned three of those most important incidents that I loved and learned from the book, The Dhoni Touch by Bharat Sundaresan. But of course, there are a lot of other important incidents as well. And a lot of these lessons that I've learned from the book, I am slowly trying to practice them in my real life. Now, this is an earnest request from my side. I humbly request all of you to read this particular book because it tells the story of how a Ranchi boy made it big. Big simply because of his qualities like determination, humility, patience, his endurance, hard work, etc. So it is something that is really, really worth reading, and I'm sure it will inspire a lot of you. And finally, yes, because it is July 7th, it is an important day in the cricket fandom and it is worth celebrating. I wish one of my most favorite cricketers a very, very happy birthday. And yes, guys, that's it for this video. Until I see you next, please do take care. And if in case you like the video, do remember to like, share, and subscribe. And I will leave the link to this particular book in the description below. And please buy the book using the link because I can generate a small amount of commission that helps me run my show. Yes, thank you. Thank you.